all set, but once again, Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, April 23rd. The main event is next here on Friday Night Fights. When we come back, Edner Cherry on the rise, 14 straight wins. Ricky Quiles, a lot more experience, will provide the test.
The place to be in South Florida tonight, the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, home to this week's Friday Night Fights from the Grand Ballroom here on this magnificent new facilities grounds. We are ready for our main event, a very important lightweight fight. It'll propel the career of either Edner Cherry or Ricky Quiles. The Battle of Florida ready to go. Edner Cherry more than ready. He's been waiting for a moment like this his whole life, a life that comes from humble beginnings and a loving family. Wauchula, Florida, far from Tampa, but for the Cherry family, it had all the opportunity of the big city. When Edner was just 11 years old, his family moved from the Bahamas to this farm town. They were seeking a new life, but finding it wasn't going to be easy.
I just want to thank God for that, for my parents. If it wasn't for my parents, I don't know where I was going to be at right now.
Day after day, hour after hour, Edner and his parents harvested the orange groves. He picked up more than just fruit. He gathered discipline and faith.
When I was an amateur, I told my coach I wanted to become a pro fighter, because in this sport you could be, you could have a lot, and by a family it's a whole lot of things. But my families, they are struggling, working in Orange Grove, working in the rain. But, it has to take me, to make the difference in my family life.
By 8th grade, boxing became an outlet. Edner has always seen it as a way to help his family and leave that orange grove behind. As an amateur, Cherry was limited. He didn't travel to the big tournaments because of citizenship issues. But his in-ring potential wasn't limited. He tested himself. Turned pro at age 18. Through 7 fights, it looked to be too much too soon, until he hooked up with Peter Fernandez.
He'll give you in the 10th round what he gave you in the first round. I brought Edner back to the basics. I settled him down, and the rest he's done on his own. He's matured as a person and matured as a fighter.
Now Edner has won 14 straight fights. His desire to succeed is more intense than ever. He drives 90 minutes from Wauchula just to train every day in Tampa.
I said, well, it will pay off one day to do all this driving and driving back home. Be coming home about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, be tired and wake up in the morning, go back to work. So, I would say it's hard, but I just got to suck it up.
I thank God for Edner Cherry, because he's shown me worth ethics. Coming to the gym and staying in the gym, practicing no matter what. And, just riding on his coattail has been one of the biggest inspirations in life for me.
I'm not that type of fighter, so I don't want to fight because he got this many fights, this many records, and this much knockout. It really is not in the record, it's not in the knockout, it's in the heart.
And here he is tonight, moments away from taking another step towards making his dreams come true, Edner Cherry. A likable guy, as is this man, Ricky Quiles, a fan favorite here on the East Coast of Florida. At 34, he's 12 years older than Cherry, 36, 6-3, and that career started back in 1989. Ricky's last 5, as you can see, this is the second bout for Ricky after the tragic Villalta fight. We told you all about that at the beginning of the show. We'll talk more about that as the night goes on. He's 4-1 in his last 5. Lost the decision to the slick Terrence Coffin. Teddy, the fight plan for Ricky Quiles.
Well, for Quiles to win this fight, number one, box and act like a southpaw. I know you're tough, but in this fight, he is physically stronger, so be smart and box. Take advantage of being a lefty and move to your right away from his right hand. Number 2, put a knot in it. When you are in close, after you work, don't be afraid to tie him up when you have to keep him from using his power inside. And number 3, no reaching. If you do press in spots, do it behind that right jab. Do not give him an opening to score by reaching in from too far away.
Edner Cherry Bomb Cherry, now 22 years old. Just celebrated the birth of his son Edner Jr. in late December. He's 17-2-2, but keep in mind he started his career 3-2-2. That's when he was unguided without trainer Peter Fernandez. His last 5. Cherry has gone 5-0 against the group. That includes Antonio Ramirez. That's a common opponent. Cherry KO'd Ramirez. Quiles fought to a draw against Ramirez. Teddy, the fight plan for the Cherry Bomb.
Well, number 1, the Dragon Slayer. Use it, or at least the southpaw stopper. That would be the straight right hand, a favorite and effective punch against the southpaw. Number 2, let's get physical. No, not Olivia Newton-John. You are physically stronger. Show it by getting in close and working to the body. And number 3, short uppercuts. You have shown the ability to throw a beautiful short uppercut on the inside and hurt an opponent. Use it when given the opportunity.
Tommy Kimmins is your referee. Scheduled for 12 rounds. Cherry and Quiles.
Gentlemen, this is a 12-round IBF elimination bout, and I gave you the instructions. I want to remind you, this audience here to watch you fight, so keep it clean. Touch him up.
The ring experience obviously favoring the southpaw Ricky Quiles. Edner Cherry was a mere 6 years old growing up in the Bahamas when Quiles was making his pro debut back in June of 1989. Ricky Quiles, another chance to get a shot towards the top. Round number 1 against Cherry. Says he's going to mix it up. Going to show some of his good boxing, the speed, the elusiveness, rhythm. That is his game plan. You see the knockout ratio. Just 18% for the slick southpaw Ricky Quiles. Teddy, you know, when the tragedy happened to Luis Villalta last February, Villalta passing away after his fight with Ricky Quiles, it was hard. And Ricky Quiles is not a big puncher. If a tragedy like that is going to happen, you would never think it would happen against a guy like Quiles.
Because you never know what's going on. It doesn't even mean it was from that fight. I'm not trying to be a doctor, but it can come from previous undisclosed injuries, which quite often it does come from. It can come from many, many fights ago. It's just a tragedy. And it's something that healers in his chosen profession needs to forget and put beyond them. Never forget it in his heart, privately when he wants to deal with it, in his prayers, and the way that he deals with it. But as far as professionally, he needs to put it past him.
Let him go. Let him go.
And early on here, both fighters are showing you the diagram of how they think they need to go about winning this particular fight, and what they think their strengths and their weaknesses are. Both of them seem to understand that very clearly. Cherry coming out pursuing, as you would expect, a stronger man, a man who thinks he's the stronger man. Quiles coming out boxing, pot shot, using that southpaw left hand right there very effectively, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't have the physical advantage here, Quiles, but he is a southpaw. As you said, very experienced. He's fought 4 former world champions. Use that experience, be smart. In other words, box. And take advantage of being unorthodox. Take advantage of being a southpaw. Pop that left hand from that back position that the orthodox fighter is not used to seeing. Now, if you have a fighter whose mission tonight is to beat a southpaw, what do you want to know, Joe? You want to know what the hell he does with southpaws. That comes up good if you're a backer of Cherry. He has beaten 3 southpaws in his career, but not a southpaw of this experience.
Southpaw Ricky Quiles, who has fought Cool Vince Phillips, Diobelis Hurtado, Terrence Parkin. He's been fighting since '89. Round one is in the books for Ricky Quiles and Edner Cherry. Quiles, this is the second fight since the tragic death of Luis Villalta. When we were with him, we asked him the impact that had on his life.
When I heard about his passing, it was very devastating for me. I didn't sleep for days. I was very depressed. I was contemplating on quitting my whole career. I didn't talk to nobody for days and days. I went to severe depression. But, you know, things like this happen in the game, and it can easily have happened to me at any given time. So I count my blessings every time I fight.
He should.
We've talked so much about what a fine gentleman and genuinely nice guy Cherry is, which you brought out very well. As we have done and we're doing right now again. We say the same thing, obviously, exists with Quiles. Good, solid person. Nice guy. And again, you can see early on, both fighters understand their strengths and the strengths of their opponents. Quiles understands and respects that Cherry is a strong puncher, a physical fighter. That's why he's giving him distance. That's why he's using those wheels right now. And Cherry knows that he's not going to outbox Quiles. He wants to get in close and use that strength. What's the sense of having strength if you can't get close proximity to exhibit it?
Tries to show it off there with the left hand. Southpaw able to get away. Back out to the center of the ring, working behind that right jab.
You know, this one is for Brian Kenny, my pal over there. To the moon, Brian, to the moon. Of course, he was up in the camp with the great Customato. Customato used to have a great saying. He always had these philosophical sayings, probably better than most people that were very colorful. He used to say, what's good having power? It's like a military weapon. What good is it having it if you don't have a means to convey that weapon to the target? What's it going to do for you? It's just going to blow up, make a big hole in the ground, and when it rains, it's going to fill up with water, you go swimming. Well, that is exactly, and I see Brian smiling there, that is exactly the mission in front of Cherry. He's got the bomb, the cherry bomb, but he has to get closer. He has to find a means to get it to the target. Quiles wants to make sure that does not happen. Quiles has a little bit more of a burden on his shoulders, though. Not just make Cherry miss, but also take the chances to be active enough, responsible, but still be active enough to be able to keep Cherry at bay and to stay ahead in the round.
No punching. There you go. Let's go.
After all, unless you're Willie Pep, the old Will of the Wisp, they don't usually give rounds for just making guys miss.
Come on.
Yamo Papaleo did that once, way back when.
Now, Cherry wants to find a way to get that weapon, that power, to the target. He doesn't want to do it that way, reaching in, because he'll be countered by the experienced Quiles. I would suggest he starts going downstairs. Start taking those legs. What's giving you trouble? If you're Cherry, what's giving you trouble right now? It's the southpaw style a little bit, but it's the legs, the movement of Quiles. Will take those legs away. Start puncturing the tires. Go downstairs to the body if you're Cherry.
Couple of good straight left hands scoring well at the end of round number 2 for Quiles.
Come on.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
There he is, Roberto Benitez, a fine young prospect, tremendous amateur. He didn't actually fight for the Olympic team. He made it, but then he lost in the qualifier match. Did not get to go to Greece. But we hope to have him on our show April 8th. Good young prospect from my neighborhood, or close to my neighborhood, at least in the vicinity. from the Bronx.
Round number 3 scheduled for 12. Edner Cherry, Ricky Quiles. Cherry's trying to pick up the pace and hunt down the elusive Quiles right now. Teddy, you talk about Benitez there. U.S. Olympian who we hope to see later. Andre Durrell on Friday Night Fights next week, a medalist from the Olympic Games last summer. He will be on Friday Night Fights next week in his second pro fight, as will Layla Ali. So Layla Ali and Andre Durrell both on Friday Night Fights next week. Look forward to that. Well, I think Edner Cherry got enough of trying to figure out Ricky Quiles in those first 2 rounds. The southpaw was able to control the pace, stay at range, and then at the end of the second round, land a couple of straight left hands. Here in the early goings of round number 3, Cherry's been pressing a little more, trying to get on the inside and pick up the pace a little bit. Warning from Tommy Kimmins.
A little bit of a clash of heads there. And you can see it bothering Cherry right now, along with the way the fight's going. So far, so good if you're a backer of Quiles. Little frustration you're giving to the stronger man. Then he can't use his strength properly.
Teddy, just want to take the time out while we have the chance to wish the best for our longtime tech manager, Jerry Pachano, who's on the road with us for many, many years, who fell ill this week and is in the hospital back in Ohio. Jerry, we wish you a speedy recovery and the best to you and your wife, Mary. Our prayers are with you.
Right now, Cherry not doing what you need to do. If you were the bigger puncher, not getting close, not being allowed to get close, and when he does, Quiles does what he needs to do. He spins out, gets space, distance. Distance is good in this fight for Quiles, not good for Cherry. So let's ask our former tremendous champion in the studio, Jesse James. Again, head hunting for the stronger Cherry.
Straight left hand from Quiles.
Cherry, I think, should be concentrating on downstairs, not upstairs.
Good exchange here at the end of round number 3.
Well, we promised a good matchup. We promised action. That's exactly what you hear, what you have right there. Good action, good mixing it up, and maybe the punches from Cherry just a little fat.
Main event here on Friday Night Fights, an IBF lightweight title eliminator. One of these 2 men will advance and put themselves in line for a potential lightweight title shot. Edner Cherry in the white and red taking on Ricky Quiles in the red, white, and blue. You see the punches in round number 3. Pretty even, sensational action at the end of that 3rd round. A 10-10 round, 30-28. Quiles on Teddy's scorecard, and a quick pace set early here. Good crowd at the Hard Rock. Got real excited at the end of this 3rd round. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas now joined by the legendary Jesse James Leha. James, you are always good at making adjustments in your fights. What adjustments would you be making if you were each of these fighters?
Well, if I was, hey Joe, how you doing? If I was Quiles right now, I would keep doing the same thing that he's doing. He's doing a great job boxing on the outside. But Cherry needs just to put pressure on him. It reminds me of the Camacho, when I fought Camacho. He was trying to box on the outside and trying to use his distance and his reach. But you got to take it to a left-hander. You can't let him get off first. You got to back him up. And Quiles doesn't have that much power, so why is Cherry worried about it? He needs to go in there and let his hands go.
Yeah, he just showed his power moments ago with a straight right-handed Edner Cherry.
Yes, Jesse, it's Teddy here. Would you like to see Cherry go to the body a little bit more? Because let's face it, Quiles' only chance is stay outside. And when he stays outside, the way he does it is by using his legs. And no better way, no one can say it better than you, no better way to take those legs away than to go downstairs.
Yeah, go to the body. And I think, but you know, he's on the outside. Like even now, he's on the outside. He needs to work his way in, work the body, and the head will fall. But he's not going to hurt, Quiles would not hurt Cherry with anything. So he needs just to go in there and take his chances, because he's going to lose on the outside. He's going to keep losing this fight. He needs to kill that body.
Absolutely, but when he goes in there like he just did, you don't want to go in there and throw punches away by throwing a left hook to the head that doesn't land anywhere. You know that the body doesn't move. And if he goes downstairs, later on, he's going to find success upstairs.
Two-punch combination from the southpaw right there. James, thank you very much for your insight. Look forward to hearing more.
Okay, thank you,
now
guys.
A right hand comes in from the Cherry bomb. Now looping left hand. There's that head hunting, Teddy, that you talk about.
Look, he's carrying the round now. But is he being as effective as productive? And when I say he, I mean Cherry, as he can be. The answer to me, from my standpoint, no. He's winning the round, but he could be more effective if he placed some of those punches downstairs. Then he would get opportunities upstairs later.
Go up underneath that hook.
You can hear the corner. It's ridiculous.
Give me that boy that towel. Give me the towel.
Round number 5, scheduled for 12. For a prime position for a lightweight title shot. Edner Cherry in the white trunks. Ricky Quiles in the red, white, and blue. The East Coast versus the West Coast of Florida. Been a good little scrap so far.
Just as advertised. Good matchmaking, good fight.
And Teddy, two really likable guys. I mean, it's hard to root against either one of these guys. You saw the emotional story of trying to make the American dream come true with Edner Cherry and his family working the orange groves. And, of course, Ricky Quiles, hard-working local fighter here, who's still trying to get over the loss of Luis Villalta, the tragedy that happened a year ago. Let's now join Michael Moore, the former heavyweight world champion, who's the co-trainer for Ricky Quiles. Michael, Joe Tessitore, and Teddy Atlas with you. What do you see in there, Double M?
Well, what I see is he's superb boxing. He's boxing and he's moving around. He's making Edner Cherry chase him. And once Edner Cherry starts chasing him, he's off balance. He needs to be set to get off his punches and establish all his punches. But Ricky's countering that by moving.
Michael, it's Teddy here. I agree with you. He's boxing the right fight. But he's got to start making him pay. He's got to make him pay a little bit to keep Cherry from just walking in.
You're right, Teddy. He just hurt him with a good uppercut. We was telling him as he's coming in, the last round I told him, as he's coming in, he's wide open for an uppercut or a right hook.
So in other words, you're telling Ricky to take advantage of what's being given him. Let Cherry do some of the work for him. Let him walk into punches.
Once he walks into him, Ricky pays him off by punching the right shots. He has to hit him with the right uppercut. Me being a fellow southpaw, I see the punches on the outside. He just has to throw it.
Michael, thanks for your time. We'll let you get back to work. Michael Moore.
Thank you.
By the way, tremendous knockout win for Michael Moore this past December against Vasily Girov. Has gotten his career back on track. Teddy, just out of curiosity, we're coming up on 11 years removed from that special night when the two of you upset Evander Holyfield out in Vegas for the heavyweight title. What's it like when the two of you are together now?
It's a lot easier than it was then. A lot quieter. We had a nice dinner last night with his beautiful family, and there was no arguing. And I didn't have to tell him to get up and do road work. That was great.
You know, I'm going to tell you in the 6th round a story about what Ricky Quiles said is about Michael Moore, the trainer, that you'll get a kick out of.
You know, Michael made a good point. Two men in the corner there with Quiles. You have Michael Moore, and you have also the other trainer. But you have a guy who knows how to help his fellow southpaw, and Michael Moore, obviously, being a former southpaw.
Brian Kenny, Teddy, has a look ahead to the rest of the month of Friday Night Fights.
Friday Night Fights is back, and so are the thrills on ESPN2. February 11th, it's Ladies' Night with undefeated Layla Ali in the ring and boxer-actor Lucia Riker in the studio. February 18th, we spotlight one of the top welterweights in the world as Antonio Margarito prepares himself for an April showdown against unbeaten Kermit Cintrone. Bernard Hopkins is back, and the undisputed middleweight champ is going for number 20. February concludes with up-and-coming heavyweight prospect Terry Smith, and in studio, former heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Big Daddy Bowe. And on March 4th, Rocky Juarez, the featherweight with a heavyweight punch, is back in action after crushing Gudius Spadas in one of the 2004 knockouts of the year. Friday Night Fights on ESPN2, your boxing authority.
Look forward to the upcoming weeks on Friday Night Fights. Round number 6 in this lightweight eliminator. Edner Cherry, Ricky Quiles. Cherry strikes first here in this 6th round. Teddy, getting back to Michael Moore, your former charge as the co-trainer for Ricky Quiles. Quiles, by the way, coming off of a very good 5th round there. He said his high and total connects with 20 punches. You know, I said, hey,
point being taken away here. This is a big
came out earlier from Tommy Kimmons. So he told him, if I have to go there again, I will take the point. So mark that down as a -1 in what could be crucial. Now Edner Cherry's trying to make up for it. He said Michael Moore has a little bit of Teddy Atlas as a trainer in him. He said, I cut short on a session a couple weeks ago. I went out for a jog. Michael Moore got in his pickup truck, tracked me down a few miles down the road, threw me back in the truck, and brought me back to the gym to finish up the session.
Yeah, well, he used to do that, so he should know the tricks pretty well.
Except Michael knew where to run and hide.
Hey, you're not going to fool a guy who has used those tricks before. Now, Michael, actually, I think he's going to be a good trainer, you know, because he was a good technical fighter. He understood not only the importance of physical ability, and he had tremendous physical ability, good hand speed and good power, natural power, and of course he was a southpaw on top of it. But he understood how important it was to be technically responsible. He can help a fighter. And it should be mentioned that the co-trainer is Anthony Wilson, who's also doing a very good job, along with Michael and Quiles. But Quiles has the benefit, as Michael touched on in the last round when we had him, of having somebody who's not only fought, but somebody who is a southpaw and can speak well to a fellow southpaw, as Quiles is. He understands the lefty. Now, the landscape is what Quiles wants. He wants distance. He's getting chances to punch in spots and then get out. See, the key for Quiles is to be able to punch in spots, but don't get greedy. Don't stay there too long. Cherry wants longer moments. Quiles doesn't need long moments. He wants legs, he wants distance, he wants movement, he wants mixes, and he wants spots where he can create offense.
Right hand getting the attention of the crowd from Edner Cherry.
Cherry wants a long run. Cherry wants to be able to get a little bit of cooperation where he can put punches together. And Michael said it right. Cherry needs his feet to be set. He's a big puncher, but he needs to be set to be effective. Quiles so far understands what his mission is. To pick spots like he did with that left hand and not allow Cherry to get set.
I'll tell you what else Edner Cherry needs. Is he needs to win this 6th round because he had a point deducted earlier in it. Can't afford to have a 10-8 round here.
And that's exactly what he has right now. And that's a good point. Quiles doing a good job of making Cherry pay, not just miss. Let's take a look at where that point is deducted from Cherry. Now watch right here as he holds with his left hand behind the neck and then throws the uppercut and then grabs on again. That is a foul. You can't hold behind the neck and then throw a punch. And that can be a dangerous foul because the head doesn't give a chance to give. And that's why the referee stepped in, deducted a point immediately after the break from Cherry.
You know, and Teddy, the 5th and the 6th round, the two most productive rounds for Ricky Quiles. He had a 43-23 connect advantage in those last 2 rounds. You see the power punches through round 6. 23 connects in the 6th round for Ricky Quiles. So, you know, you mark that down a 10-9 round for Ricky Quiles. It actually becomes a 10-8 round with the point deduction. So a very, very costly 6th round for Edner Cherry. Of course, the power can make up for it quickly.
Well, the power with some timing. You can see right there, Cherry did something a little different. I still don't think he's going to the body enough. He's missing the boat on that. He's going too much head hunting. He's too anxious to hurt Quiles. But what he did a moment ago, he timed a good left hook. He set up a situation where Quiles was about to throw, and Cherry timed him. That's the way he's going to land to the head. Other than that, he needs to go downstairs, bang to that body, take some air out of those tires, and make Quiles a little bit more accessible. You know, the landscape, the geography of this fight is so important to both fighters. That's what it comes down to here, Joe. Quiles wants an outside fight. Cherry wants an inside fight. And Quiles now starting to move his hands a little bit more to go along with the legs to make sure that Cherry does not just walk inside.
Straight left hand from Ricky Quiles. Now doubling up the left hand. Cherry still searching for that power to come through and work its magic. Can he land that Cherry bomb that he described? That big right hand digging to the body now.
Well, that's where he needs to go. There you go. See, sometimes it's no good when you have a nickname like Cherry Bomb, because then you go in there and you start acting like a cherry bomb. You think that everything you throw is going to be a knockout, and you just start winging punches instead of remembering the most important thing that you have to know in this particular business, and that's how to set the shots up. The sweet science.
Good fight here in Hollywood, Florida from the Hard Rock. Edner Cherry, Ricky Quiles. One of these two will emerge as a potential title contender at 135 pounds. South Florida enjoying the fight scene. And why not? They got one of the very best living among them, and he joins us now. The Ring Magazine light heavyweight champion of the world, Glenn Johnson, now ringside with us. Wait a minute. You're getting a lot of ESPN airtime right now. Last week with Brian Kenny. How did Brian treat you last week in studio? Does he put on a good spread there?
He treated me good. He's a good man. I don't mind hanging out with him at all. He can have me anytime.
You know, I liked what Glenn had to say last week, Teddy. You know, he's been humble for a long time, but he was a little outspoken last week, huh?
He did a great job.
Well, you know, a lot of people have been saying, hey, it's time you speak up and call some people out. So, you know, it's not my style, but I'm trying to play the role.
Your style is to be as steady in the ring as you are outside the ring. You're a gentleman outside the ring, and you're a consummate pro inside the ring. We want more people like you.
Thank you very much, Ted. That means a lot to me. Coming from you, I've listened to you a lot, and I respect what you say, and I respect the things you do. And you're definitely an asset to boxing.
Well, thank you. You are, but could you please work on Brian Kenny's jab a little bit? Please. I mean, really, last week, come on. I mean, it's just...
He's doing a good job.
Brian Kenny bringing all the guests over to ESPN The Gym, getting his own high-level boxing lessons every week. Glenn, let me ask you this. It's been a pretty good main event so far. What do you see that these fighters may be missing? What's going on in there that you're watching ringside?
Well, you know, Ricky, if he uses his jab more, he stabilizes some of the aggression from Cherry. You know, Cherry will get aggressive when Ricky's not using his jab. So right now we got him stabilized. He don't have to move as much when he's using his jab. When he start moving his jab, you have to go running around. Right now he start using his jab, you slow his aggression down, and he get to settle him in a little bit better.
Glenn, we know that Cherry's a stronger fighter. You watched the fight for 2 seconds, you can see that.
Right.
Do you think that he should be directing some of that strength downstairs instead of upstairs?
Oh, definitely. He could use his jab a little more too, cut off the ring a little better, and don't get so wild and so open, and definitely hit everything in the body, because the body doesn't move as much as the head do. So you need to attack the body first.
You're a fighter who's technically sound. If Glenn Johnson was in that ring right now, I know you're bigger than that, but if all of a sudden you could drop down, you could be that weight class, and you were in that ring right now, and you were Cherry, what would you be doing? What would be going through your head? You've been having trouble landing your bombs. What would be going through your head?
Well, the first thing I would do, I would slow everything down and throw my punches a little bit more tighter where I could get the shots in. And I wouldn't wait as long as he waits. He step in there in the pocket and he waits. He don't let the shot go when he gets there. He waits. Right there he did. But there's a lot of times when he don't let the shot go. Like right there, he didn't do anything. You have to move. Every opportunity you use when you get close, you have to use your hands. Move
in other words, in trainer lingo, what you're saying is that when you get in close, don't wait to see the opening, just let it go.
Just start moving your hands. Create opening.
There you go. Hey, you're going to be a good trainer.
Hey, Glenn,
I'm going to try.
Glenn, real quick, any updated news as to your upcoming fight, rematch with Tarver, anything on the front that we should know about?
Nothing big. You know, I'm still trying to work out the fight with Antonio Tarver. And if it comes, you know, I'm looking forward to it roughly around May or so. The fight getting hot in here now. It's looking good.
Oh, this is some fight. Let me tell you, Quiles is making a little bit of a mistake. We talked about it earlier. Don't get greedy. Don't forget what you are. Do not forget what you're not. Quiles is not the puncher, he's the boxer. He forgot for the last 30 seconds, and he's paying a price with the stronger Cherry. You must never forget what you are.
So the tables turn here in round number 8. Going to be a sensational finish between Edner Cherry and Ricky Quiles. Now,
what a fight.
Let's check in with Brian Kenny and James Leha. Guys, it's heating up in South Florida.
Yeah, great stuff there, and there's a great fight scheduled tomorrow night at the Savas Center. It's sold out in St. Louis, welterweight championship of the world. Corey Spinks, Zab Judah 2. What happens this time, James?
I think Zab Judah beats him. I think he knocks him out. He has the upper hand because in the last fight, the 12th round, he dropped him and he almost put him away towards the end. And I think he just has a lot going for him. He just can't wait like he did in the first fight. He was waiting too long to set up that one punch because Corey Spinks stands up too tall and he was trying to land that one punch. He needs your hands to go.
I tell you what, Corey, though, early in that fight, through the first bunch of rounds in that fight, hurting him with the jab at a distance, and a much bigger fighter. But you think Zab, who can close faster than anybody, will close this time.
And he has that power, more power, so much more power than Spinks. But it's going to be a great fight.
I tell you what, you got De La Hoya and Mosley going back to 147. Kostya Tszyu looming at 140. If he gets by Ricky Hatton, he probably will.
Yeah.
That's going to be something in welterweight.
It's going to be great. I may have to come back at 140.
No, you're just after what Ellie said here. Hey, by the way, tell the champ I appreciate him not pot-shotting me. Teddy, Joe.
This is just good stuff here. And Cherry getting a little bit of the better of it. Quiles forgetting for a moment, Joe, that he's the boxer and paying a price for it. But not forgetting how much heart he has. That's one thing that you can never measure. You never completely control. Yeah, you want Quiles to box. Yeah, he's got a southpaw trainer in there, and Michael Moore, the former two-time world champion, making sure that he understands the game plan, but he's a fighter at heart and at spirit, and it's going to come out. And it's come out in spots to carry him well, and it's also come out to hurt him a little bit when he's gotten a little stubborn.
So 4 rounds to go here from the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. 2 tough-nosed, extremely hard-working lightweights that are looking for a big, big break in their boxing careers. They're calling this an IBF title eliminator. Julio Diaz is vacating the belt. There will be a group that'll be vying for the positions to fight for it. Edner Cherry and Ricky Quiles among them. Cherry, the 22-year-old from Wauchula, Florida, immigrated to this country from the Bahamas at age 11, spent the next 9 years picking oranges in the farmlands 90 minutes east of Tampa Bay with his family. He wants a better life. For Ricky Quiles, 34 years old, he's gone through the ups and downs of boxing. He's had tough luck in his career. He's fought some of the best. He wants another chance to get to the top. The brilliant boxing from Quiles throughout the early and middle rounds all of a sudden came to a halt in the 8th round with a power surge from Edner Cherry. Which way will it go now in the stretch run of this fight? Short left hand from Cherry. Cherry now firing away. Quiles standing in front, Teddy.
We talked about the geography of this fight being so important. Quiles wanting to be on the outside, Cherry wanting to be in close. And it's worked out that way. On the outside, Quiles has been able to have control. On the inside, Cherry has been able to show his strength, the power. But now it's a matter of consistency, who gets their way. And that's what Quiles wants to do. Get his shots off and get out. Again, you love the heart of Quiles. This is a guy who's fought 4 former world champions. You're not going to win the fight if you're not going to make a stand every once in a while and survive that stand. You just want to control it. You want to put reins on it. You don't want to get carried away. Right now, he's controlling it pretty well.
It's going to be a good finish. You can smell it.
Get all screwed up. Yeah. 64, right?
You're on the body. You want to step this man. Right now. Step this man and start getting all up on the Step him up and bust body position. Give me that last round.
I thought Cherry did, but it was Ricky Quiles coming out for the 10th round in front of his hometown fans. Scheduled for 12. Edner Cherry made the cross-state trip.
Let's go.
Looking for a title shot.
We saw just a minute ago the head of Quiles, the brain of Quiles, the experience of Quiles. He got inside with the stronger Cherry. What did he do? Put a knot in him. Tied him up.
So Teddy, that was his scorecard, 88-83, Ricky Quiles. Southpaw. Fights here in the South Florida region.
Now this is where Quiles has to be careful. You know, he's got the heart of that fighter, and it's coming out. And look, you got to, but you don't want to stand in front of the puncher. You don't want to forget your identity. You don't want to forget your strengths and what your strengths are not. Right now, Quiles is forgetting that, and Cherry's making him pay a price.
The cherry bomb has been lit. Will it go off here in the 10th round? Quiles was playing it off, but there's a lot of time to go, and the power came through in the form of a right hand.
Quiles is standing in front of Cherry and cooperating with Cherry right now. He's not the puncher, so even if he lands, chances are he's not going to do a lot of damage to Cherry. Cherry can do damage to Quiles. Quiles can win the fight on the outside. Cherry can only win the fight when he's in close. And right now he's being given that kind of landscape by the cooperation and maybe too much heart on the part of Quiles.
You're seeing a lot of heart the past 30 seconds,
you
Teddy.
don't want that heart in the world, Joe, but Judge James Lehan tell you, it has to be controlled. It has to be navigated. It has to be lassoed sometimes. You don't want it to start being negative. You don't want it to start to be something that's counterproductive, that's cooperating with the strength of your opponent. Right now, Quiles standing in front of Cherry, giving Cherry just what he needs, a place to land. You see that little move to the side? That's what Quiles has to do when he separates himself, off to the side. Early on in the round, Joe, when you were talking about Cherry coming on, it was magnified. His success was magnified because Quiles was going straight back. He was in the path of the punch continually. When he breaks it off to the side, he makes Cherry readjust his route, move his feet, and he can't be effective. Good round for Cherry.
It's great when a fight lives up to it, isn't it, Teddy? Cherry
sure
and
is.
Quiles, something special.
Yeah. Guess I can't see it.
ESPN2 Friday Night Fights, brought to you by Castrol GTX High Mileage. It helps older cars feel young again. We are at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, and this jam-packed crowd in the Grand Ballroom is watching an older fighter feel young again. Ricky Quiles at 34, staying in there and trying to hang around with the power of Edner Cherry, Teddy.
Well, on my scorecard, Cherry needs rounds right now, and he gets it right there, backing up behind the jab, backing up. Quiles landing the right hand, and watch. Quiles stays in the path of the punch, continues going straight back, and his problems, they don't go away.
That 10th round was the first time that Cherry has outlanded Ricky Quiles since the 3rd round. Want to remind you, coming up next will be another episode of Tilt after Edner Cherry and Ricky Quiles. You are watching Friday Night Fights, this IBF lightweight eliminator between these two hardworking and dedicated Florida lightweights. I'm Joe Tessitore alongside Teddy Atlas, James Lehan, Brian Kenny in studio. Cherry wearing the white with red, Ricky Quiles the red, white, and blue.
Quiles back to doing what he needs to do. Legs, distance, counter punches, jabs. That's exactly the recipe he needs to cook up a win against the stronger Cherry.
Showing a little head movement to try to get away from that right hand. There it is again, fired in from Cherry.
If Cherry goes on to lose this fight, he's going to kick himself in the you-know-where, I believe, for not going downstairs to the body early, because you have to know what you have in front of you. You have to know your opponent. And he had to have known that Quiles uses his legs for defensive purposes and later to set up offense. And knowing that, he should have, and he being Cherry, designed the plan to go downstairs there. You can see it affected Quiles. That body shot to go downstairs to that body and start taking away those legs. Start taking the hold. Maybe the only chance that Quiles has. If those legs of Quiles are gone, well then Quiles is gone.
Straight left hand from Quiles stops Cherry for a moment. Digs to the body again with a right hand.
The question now, is it too late being the 11th round when he starts going to that body? If he had started going to that body earlier, who knows what those legs would look like right now of Quiles.
Teddy, no matter which way this fight goes, don't you want to see these two guys again down the road among these lightweights that we've been watching in the course of the past year?
Who wouldn't? This has been what boxing's supposed to be. Technique, skill, and plenty of will. And kudos to the matchmakers. When it's done right, this is what you get. We like to do it right.
Short left hand on the inside after Cherry had leaned forward with the body shot. Coming to the final moments of this 11th round. Quiles, a lot of heart. Back and forth with Edner Cherry. 1 round to go.
Time. That's right.
Edner Cherry, the young man from the farmlands of western Florida's coast, needs a big 12th round here against Ricky Quiles. Want to remind everybody, coming up next after this main event on Friday Night Fights will be Tilts here on ESPN2. 12th and final round. Teddy, it's been a sensational go of it.
You know what, Joe? It's been tremendous. And I just hope at the end that the judges conduct themselves as tremendously as these two fighters have. We'll see.
Saw the punch stats moments ago favoring Ricky Quiles, who fights here in Hollywood, Florida. Teddy's scorecard, 106-103, so Cherry would need to come up big here in the 12th round, according to Teddy. This is being called an IBF title eliminator. Julio Diaz, the worthy champion, will be vacating his belt to make a fight with Jose Luis Castillo, the Ring Magazine recognized lightweight champion. So big opportunities in the lightweight division for the winner of this fight.
The fight for Quiles tonight has been pick your spots, use your legs, get separation, try not to get caught going straight back, and to make sure that you just don't get a little too greedy. And there's been spots when Quiles has, when he stayed there a little bit too long. But his great heart, his great experience, his great fighter's attitude has allowed him to survive those spots. You know, Glenn Clough Johnson, the light heavyweight champ that so many people respect so much and have a right to respect, was talking about Quiles having to use that jab, and he's right. I think the jab's been missing from Cherry. The jab of Cherry's could have stabilized and settled down some of that movement of Quiles if he had used it more. It could have made Quiles a lot easier to find and take away a lot of these pot shots from Quiles. Cherry has depended too much on that right hand, I think. And again, if he loses this fight, and we'll see what the judges have in their minds, but if he loses this fight, he may be sorry he didn't go downstairs earlier. But nobody's going to be sorry that watched this fight, because it has been a heck of a go.
Well, let's let him bring it home. Edner Cherry, Ricky Quiles. Do it up, boys. Ricky Quiles, Edner Cherry, and a lot of heart. We now, let's check in with Brian Kenny and Jesse James Leha. Guys?
Tough watching that, knowing you're not doing that anymore. That's it for you.
I know, it's tough.
Score this one. Let's send it right back to Hollywood, Florida with Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas. Guys?
Thanks, BK. All right, let's look at the CompuBox numbers between Cherry and Quiles. Total punches, 238 to 170 for Ricky Quiles. Quiles threw 101 punches in the last round. Teddy Atlas's scorecard. 116, 112, Ricky Quiles. Much anticipation here in Hollywood, Florida.
You know, Joe, one of the things that I think served Quiles in this fight, even though he wasn't a bigger puncher, he was able to survive spots because he's been a bigger guy throughout his career. And I think that served him well in this fight. Cherry was a guy whose entire career was between lightweight and junior lightweight. And Quiles turned pro at 141 pounds, junior welterweight. He fought between lightweight and junior welterweight his entire career. He came down to 134. Being a bigger guy, I think it allowed him, even though he wasn't going to win by being a bigger puncher, he had to be the boxer. But the moments when he had to handle something, when he had to absorb, he was able to absorb and survive a little better, I think, being the bigger guy. That served him.
It was surprising at those moments, Teddy.
Yeah, you know, because he had to go in there and understand that he wasn't a powerful guy, and he had to box. And him in his corner, Michael Mora and his assistant, Anthony Wilson, the two of them did a great job setting up a fight plan. But in a fight, you ask Jesse James Leha, no matter how well you plan a fight and how well you execute, you're going to have to fight. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have to sit down, set your feet, and you're going to have to just fight. And when Quiles did that, and he absorbed from Cherry, being the bigger guy, he was able to survive those moments with his heart and maybe with his size. But we're going to see now, after all that great work, the most important thing, and sometimes the most frustrating thing, in the hands of three judges.
Well, we've had a little bit of a delay here as the Florida Commission is taking their time and tabulating
Let's
the
remember now,
scorecards.
Cherry,
And now,
most of Cherry's fights have been in this home state of Florida.
let's get the official scores from Damian Pinto.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for both of these great warriors? Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the fight has come to a close. We go to a decision, and here are your scores. Judge Michael Burnett scores this fight 114 to 113. Judge Mark Streisand scores this fight 113 to 114 for Cherry. And Judge Winston scores this fight 116 to 111 for your winner by split decision, Ricky Quiles.
They are celebrating in his hometown. Ricky Quiles, who works and fights right here in Hollywood, Florida, comes up with a big split decision win that could very well put him in line for a title shot. Edner Cherry's 14-fight win streak has come to an end in dramatic fashion. But boy, oh boy, was it a great, great fight. Congratulations to both men. Ricky Quiles by split decision, 37-6-3 now. Earlier tonight, we